This is Covering the Spread, part of the FanDuel Podcast Network.
Some really big games on tap once again in college football for week number 7. We're going to break those down, talking about Indiana versus Oregon. We've got Alabama, Mizzou, Oklahoma, Texas. We're going to break down those today with Dr. Ed Feng of the Power Rank getting his read on those key games and his favorite bets at FanDuel Sportsbook. Welcome on into Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast. My name is JimSannes. I am a managing editor for FanDuel Research, joined here as mentioned by Dr. Ed Feng. You can find his work at thepowerrank.com. Check him out on X at thepowerrank. You can find the Football Analytics Show as well. Ed, we are on to week number 7. I'm thrown off because I'm seeing you and you're not outside walking, talking college football. So I'm a bit disoriented and thrown off. So I got to ask, how are you doing today? The fact that you're not moving and walking at the same time on social media right now.
I'm doing fantastic, Jim. Thanks so much for having me on. Sometimes I do these videos, down here in front of this new setup that I have. Yeah. But I like getting outside because it's nice out right now, and it's nice to take a little walk and try to get people 1 minute of useful information that I've been digging up, that I dig up throughout the course of the week for members of my site and people who subscribe to my email newsletter. So it's been a lot of fun. People call them walking bets, which they're really not. Sometimes they're bets, sometimes they're not. I would call them walking nuggets. But I think other people have been doing walking bets before, and I guess it caught on. But it's really nice to get outside, and I try to get outside during the golden hour, so like 1 hour before the sun sets, and that's what photographers always talk about, like the best time to shoot. And I just think like the scenery is nice and the lighting's good and it's fun to get out. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to do. I've been doing it daily, meaning I did every day the first week, and then I hit every day but Saturday. And I don't think I'm going to post Saturday because Saturday morning's Saturday's just too hectic. But it's been a lot of fun. And thanks for watching, Jim. Appreciate it.
So are you calling them walking nuggets intentionally to duck the walking bets war that was waged on gambling Twitter in summer 2024?
Wait, what war was that?
There was a war. There was a war.
I don't even mean
people were like saying, "Hey, I trademarked this. Hey, this is my thing. You stole this from me." It got pretty heated, and I feel like you could toss your hat in the ring there.
No. So first of all, walking nuggets is the first time I've ever put those two words together and next to each other. So I don't know. I like daily. Like I've been trying to think about this because I'm probably going to start posting these on Instagram and TikTok. And I don't know, like this is too much of a mouthful, but daily minute videos on predictive football analytics for betting. That's too much, right? They're just daily minute videos. That's it.
DMV. There you go.
DMV.
It's the DMV with Ed Feng.
DMV. Yeah.
Daily minute video. There we go. Yeah. You're going to make the perception of the DMV skyrocket with these. That's my prediction here.
We'll see what's going on with that.
Well, if you want to see the DMV, check out Ed's X account again, the Power Rank. Set some Instagram there, maybe some TikTok as well. So we're looking forward to seeing the infiltration of that, but also looking forward to picking Ed's brain on week 7 in college football, because as I said, a really fun slate on tap for this week. I'm going to talk to Ed about his process for college football and how his betting model has evolved for the past couple of years. Now we've had more data on the way he's tweaked things recently. Then we'll go through the key games for this week. Alabama, Mizzou, and talk Indiana, Oregon, of course, Oklahoma, Texas, and Ed's favorite bets for this week. But first, a reminder to make sure you're subscribed to Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcasts, both on the podcast feed and the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page. We are live Monday through Friday, breaking down the NFL and college football. Tomorrow, talking NFL. I already went through all 15 games on the schedule, giving my spread and total predictions. You're on the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page and the Covering the Spread podcast feed on Tuesday. Of course, NFL breakdown Thursday, NFL player props Friday, all right here in this exact same feed. So go subscribe on YouTube, FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page, thumbs up there, or the Covering the Spread podcast feed. Give us a 5-star rating and review over there. FanDuel's getting you ready for kickoff with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. NFL season is finally here. Only question is, are you ready to play? Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. First online, real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. And let's begin things by talking about your college football betting model. We haven't had you on during the season yet for this year. So a lot of new listeners here to the show, both on YouTube and the podcast feed, want to talk to you about that model because you made a change a couple years ago where you made this model react really fast in real time to account for transfer portal, these kids just being young and having a lot of progression as their careers go along and stuff like that. You've got a larger sample on that new kind of tweaked process now. So I wanted to ask, how are you feeling about that model now that you have more data on how it performs in the transfer portal era?
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely feel good about the model. So it essentially uses play-by-play and market data to kind of react based on what happened the previous week. And you will see, like, what I was doing before was I was using season-long averages with data from the current season weighted so much in preseason, maybe with another weight. And that was fine, but it really just couldn't catch up to teams that were either getting better really quickly or getting worse really quickly. You can kind of take Texas as a pretty interesting example. They started third in my college football member rankings. And, they actually didn't go down that first week against Ohio State. There was a lot of underlying metrics. The market actually moved towards them at the end of that week. So they actually went up a little bit. Different story now. They obviously didn't look good last week against Florida. They've dropped. So they're down to 10th. And that's just something that you those types of drops are just really hard to capture with the season-long averages of what's going on. Obviously, this way you get a little bit more reaction quickly if there's an injury to a quarterback or something like that as well. So overall, I feel pretty good. I feel very good about the model. The results haven't necessarily been there as much this year as opposed to last year, in which the results just straight computer model wise were fantastic. This year, it's been a little bit more of a struggle. But that's why we don't handicap straight on a model. We try to think about everything else that's going on and acknowledge when the model can possibly be wrong, and then try to identify situations in which the model is right. And we'll see examples of that pretty soon.
But I think that's the key thing too, is you mentioned knowing when your model may be off on a team. And the longer you do a certain model, you run that model, you have a larger sample on it, you can kind of know where those weak spots may be. So I think that's kind of the key thing, at least for me, is like I've got an anytime touchdown model for this year in the NFL, and I've got a better idea entering week 6 where its deficiencies are than I did entering week 2. And so I feel like for you, now that you've been doing this model for a couple of years, I feel like you can kind of better identify where those weak spots are. Because that is, like you said, such a key part of having a model, whether it's for college football, NFL, props, anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. And like your model is always going to kind of be wrong. Actually, I have a good example for you, Jim, in the NFL. So I've been talking about doing wisdom of crowds in the NFL for a long time. So I take subjective power rankings before the start of the season. It's kind of like a preseason AP poll. It ends up being wildly predictive. The spread model is like 56% against the spread from weeks 2 through 6, which is pretty wild when you think about it. So unfortunately, it's week 6. We know that the decline is coming. But unfortunately, this is the first time that I've really had to talk crap about the model, because it had San Francisco at 13th in the NFL.
Right.
And when I looked at that roster, I was like, that's heinously wrong, right? That's heinously too low. And they, they've come out of the season, they've won some games, they haven't looked great, but even when you take the data on the 5 games this year, the fact that they've had both Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, who was a superstar last week, they're a lot higher than 13th. Like they're just a lot better of a team than that. So when you're like me and you're like trying to sell your numbers on the site, it's a little bit uncomfortable to say, hey, my model's really off on this, but sometimes that's just the case. And I think you need to be honest about that. Just acknowledge it.
And it's hard to be honest about it when you don't know it. And it sounds like, again, you've got a better grasp on that right now, which is always a good thing, is kind of knowing where those deficiencies may lie. So I'm glad to hear that's been going well for you so far in kind of that new process, which I do like overall, is working out over the past couple of years. Let's dig in now to some games across week number 7 in college football. Let's begin things with a fun one in Mizzou. It is Alabama taking on Missouri. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, Alabama favored by 3.5. They're even money at 3.5. Total in this game, 52.5. Over is -106. There, Alabama keeps on passing really important tests, but Mizzou, another tough test for them here, and they're on the road. So can Alabama cover 3.5 on the road in this one?
Yeah, this is a really tough one for me. My model says Alabama should win by 1. Certainly suggests value on Missouri plus 3.5. I think I would lean that way. Alabama obviously stumbled a little bit coming out of the gate against Florida State. They were able to win last week. They have passed those tests, but they're not rated as highly as I had them in the preseason. So it is a team that has kind of come down from where I had them at the beginning, which was pretty high. And then Missouri is a team that was outside the top 25 and has really risen so far in my rankings. They are 5-0, but they've played Kansas, they've played South Carolina, but they haven't really played a team like Alabama quite yet. And Alabama's fallen a little bit, Missouri's risen a little bit, but when you think about it, Alabama still should be one of the premier programs in the country. I think when you look up and down their roster, like, you can definitely make the case that they are. Like, there's a lot of talent on that defensive side of the ball. When you look at guys that are projected to go to the NFL last year, it's all there, right? And Missouri is still not quite in that caliber. So the numbers certainly suggest Missouri plus 3.5 is a good bet. I would certainly lean that way. I should also mention a lot of other FanDuel is like one of the only places that's still at 3.5 right now. A lot of other places are at 3. So I guess that's a good sign. Also, I had to ask Bill Connolly about this game just because I was a little bit clueless about what to actually think about this. And, he said that this Missouri team is really good. He says he thinks they're a little bit vulnerable to deep shots down the field. So if Missouri can prevent Alabama from getting those deep shots down the fields to like Ryan Williams, he thinks they have a good chance to win. So I think that definitely suggests that Missouri plus 3.5 is the right way, although it's not something that I love this week.
Right now, that plus 3.5 FanDuel Sportsbook is -122. So even though FanDuel Sportsbook does have the 3.5, still it's a pretty heavy 3.5 with Mizzou. Their money line is currently plus 126. So interesting setup there for them. Ed is showing value in Mizzou, but not super enthusiastic about that one. So we'll talk more about that later on, but does see some value in Mizzou based on the numbers. Let's go to the second game, and it's actually at a couple of teams your numbers have been very high on throughout this year. That is Indiana and Oregon. Showed value in Indiana in the Illinois game, showed value in Oregon in the Ohio State game, but now they're going head-to-head. And in this one, Oregon is a 7.5-point favorite. Total in this game is 55.5, and it's been an interesting year for Indiana. They were able to blow out Illinois, blow out a lot of teams. They were okay against Iowa. Obviously, didn't cover in that one because of the late safety, but interesting year for them. Have they done enough for you to think they can cover a 7.5-point spread in Oregon this week?
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't really been following college football and maybe the NFL draft over the last couple of weeks, like, it might surprise you to learn that, like, if we had the draft today, Fernando Mendoza would be the first quarterback off the board, if not the first pick in the NFL draft. I think that is surprising to a lot of people, but it is the fact right now. He is the favorite to be the number 1 first overall pick. I'm not necessarily seeing him there at a lot of mock drafts right now, but he is a quarterback. And before the start of the season, Jordan Reed at ESPN did a nice piece of work just interviewing NFL scouts. And a lot of those guys thought that at that point that Mendoza had first round potential. That was kind of the language, right? He's coming in from Cal. And at that point, I didn't really quite want to like buy into this whole quarterback whisper, Kurt Signetti thing. I think that's it's one of my least favorite terms out there, even when you apply to people like Kevin O'Connell. But Mendoza's been good. He's been really good this year. And like, he's probably going to be the first quarterback taken in the next NFL draft. There's a load of NFL talent on both sides of the ball for Indiana. You got wide receiver Elijah Surratt that's going to get taken pretty high. And a couple guys on the defense, cornerback D'Angelo Pons. Like, this team was really good last year, and not all of them are gone. And they may have upgraded at the quarterback position, right? Over even Curtis Rourke was great last year, but they may have upgraded. This team is legit. And, it's interesting. Like, we've already talked about wisdom of crowds, how much I believe in that. And, kind of before I really dug into the Big Ten teams this year, like a lot of the wisdom of crowds things had Michigan ahead of Indiana. And when I started looking at the rosters, I was like, that's not remotely close to being correct, right? This team is really loaded. Okay. Oregon, other side of the ball. So Dante Moore, he was named the starter at quarterback for Oregon really, really late in August, like the week before week one. It suggests that there was some kind of quarterback battle, and a lot of bettors that I know were kind of looking at this as a reason to fade Oregon. He's been great so far. The numbers have been excellent, but like, I'm more likely to believe that's a little bit of small sample size on Moore than it is on Mendoza in this game. Oregon lost their top 5 guys in the secondary in terms of snaps last year. Their pass defensive numbers are significantly down from last year. Yeah, look, I have Indiana by 3.5, 4 points in this game. Hold on, let me get you I have Oregon by 4. So they should be favored at home, but like, I like Indiana plus 7.5. I wouldn't be surprised if they won outright.
I'm curious why the market has been so reluctant to buy into Indiana, given that we saw this last year. As you alluded to, there's the hype around Mendoza being a legitimate NFL draft talent. We know that translates to college football and stuff like that. They did blow out Illinois, looked great outside of that one game. Right. So why do you think the market has been so hesitant to buy in? Or is it just they're super enthusiastic about Oregon instead?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it could be that, Dante Moore was a top recruit and he has played well. And so it could be a lot of faith in Oregon. I mean, I think Dan Lanning is a fantastic coach. He's got a great program there right now. I just don't think that this team is quite as good as it was last year. I don't know. I don't know why people aren't buying into Indiana. And the team was great last year. It's still going to be good this year. And, I kind of think about it in terms of Michigan, right? Like 2 years ago, 2023, they won the national championship. A lot of those guys are playing in the NFL. Last year, they clearly weren't as good, had horrible quarterback play, right? But there was still a lot of holdover talent from that national championship team that really propelled a really good defense, was able to shut down Ohio State in one of the most unexpected wins of the game. I think it's a lot like that. Is what's going on with Indiana right now. They did lose some people off that team, but there's a lot of talent on that team.
All right, so it is on Indiana plus 7.5 minus 110. Again, this is not a situation where he's underselling Oregon because, again, he should value on them against Ohio State outright, like to win that game. And so it's not underselling Oregon. It's just faith in Indiana. So I just taking the plus 7.5 minus 110 for them in this one. Let's talk now about the Red River Showdown. That is Oklahoma taking on Texas. And honestly, I feel like this game actually got a bit more interesting given the Texas loss last week because it's like this huge rivalry. Now it's a pretty interesting game and really a must win for Texas. Right now at FanDuel Sportsbook, Texas a very slim favorite. That is at their money line is minus 114. Oklahoma is a minus 105. Total is 43.5. And part of the reason why we've seen the markets move towards Oklahoma here is that John Mateer may actually be able to play this game. Last I saw, he still had some kind of like cast on his wrist/hand. So we'll see his status, but it does seem like the market is buying into OU. So Ed, what's your read on this game? OU taking on Texas.
Yeah, I mean, my numbers are right on the market. Texas by about 1.5. Look, this all depends on if John Mateer can play, right? Like, this guy came over from Washington State. He's been terrific. I mean, he tore apart Michigan, and but then he injured his hand against Auburn, but he played the rest of the game.
Right.
Then later that week was like, oh, I'm going to have surgery on it. And the prognostication was that he'd be out a month, but now maybe he's going to play. I think there's a ton of questions about A, whether he's going to play, and B, whether he's going to be effective, right? With, it's an injury on his throwing hand.
Right.
He's also a player that tends to run a lot. So that there's that aspect as well. Michael Hawkins came in their last game against Kent State and was not great. My system kind of downgraded them pretty heavily, even though they won pretty easily. And look, if Mateer plays and he's fully healthy, Oklahoma should be favored in this game. But he's not. So, it's kind of tough. We talked a little bit about the struggles of Arch Manning. The other thing is Texas defense still look great by my numbers. Ohio State's kind of been doing what they want against everyone else, but they struggle to score against a pretty good Texas defense that has been good over the last couple of years. So this total is pretty low. I mean, I got to pass on this. I have just no idea what's going on with Mateer.
It's one of the situations where we don't know Mateer if he'll play, A. We don't know his health if he does play, B. And it sounds like your numbers are pretty in line with the market to begin with. So I feel like in betting, that's the easiest pass you could possibly conduct.
Yeah.
It's checking all the boxes of like, I'll just watch this game and enjoy it instead. Because it seems like you should do that if you can't find anything. And I think we get the easiest excuse to do so with this one for sure.
Yeah. And then just, continue to watch the Arch Manning drama. I think it's interesting that everyone's been talking about how he's like the biggest disappointment ever, yada, yada, yada. I kind of think of him as like Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Remember the year that he was at Oklahoma? He was the Heisman favorite. He's supposed to be the first pick, but his name wasn't Manning. So This is obviously a bigger disappointment. But, I see a world in which Arch Manning is like a disappointing starter for the worst NFL team in like 3 or 4 years, right? And, Rattler's actually been like not terrible.
Yeah, he's been fine. Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. I think there's a lot of interesting things going on in this game.
I would love for Rattler to be interesting again this week because I did take the Saints plus 3.5. So come on, Spencer, pull through again. But no read for Ed on the OU versus Texas game on Saturday. All right, Ed, I'm going to put the board for you right now. Any other bets stand out to you across week 7 that you want to or think are good values?
Yeah, I mean, let's actually talk about this Ohio State at Illinois game. I think Ohio State has probably, they're first in my numbers, and I think this is the team that has probably shown the most in terms of kind of a slew of teams that could potentially win the national championship game. The offense has been awesome. When you have those types of wide receivers, your quarterback just kind of has to be good enough. And I think Julian Sayin has been good enough here. And Illinois was a team that I had overrated in the preseason. I don't think they're good, but I don't think they're terrible. I just think they were overrated at 12th or 11th or whatever they were coming into the season. And they have kind of a key injury in the secondary. One of their cornerback is longtime starter is not going to play, which is obviously terrible when you go against Ohio State. So I actually have Ohio State by 19 in this game. I'm going to lean towards Ohio State. And the reason it's only a lean for me is because, my numbers do like this, but you are asking a team to cover more than 2 touchdowns on the road. And the market has moved from 16.5 to 14.5. So I do feel like Ohio State is the right side, but, it also wouldn't surprise me if Illinois played a good game. Maybe Ohio State doesn't have one of their best games this week. And I do expect Ohio State to win. But yeah, just a lean for me here.
All right. Now that number, as mentioned, 14.5. It is at minus 108. So at least possibly get this down to 14 based on the way it's moved so far. It seems like it's kind of steadied for a bit at that number of 14.5 and minus 108. So keep tabs on that potentially, but Ed does lean towards Ohio State at minus 14.5, minus 108, with his number showing Ohio State is 19-point favorites against Illinois. That is all that we have here for today on Covering the Spread. Big thank you once again to Dr. Ed Feng for swinging by, breaking the thoughts on walking nuggets or the DMV, whatever we want to call it. That also college football modeling and his week 7 read. Ed, appreciate the time as always. If people want to sign up for your newsletter or check out anything else, where can they do so for that?
Yeah, 5 Nugget Saturday is my curated list of tips every weekend. If you're looking for action, it's for free. You can sign up at thepowerrank.com.
All right, and find Ed on X at thepowerrank. Again, check out his stuff. Going to put that on Instagram and TikTok as well. I am on X and Blue Sky at JimSannes, on Threads at Jim.Sannes, and you can find FanDuel Research on X at FanDuel Research. Big thank you to our YouTube producer, Justin Lane, for his work in the video side of things. Thank you, Justin, as always, and thank you to everyone for tuning in. Good luck to you with your Week 7 college football bets. We'll talk to you once again tomorrow to talk NFL Week number 6. This has been Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast.